In Argentina, province of Jujuy, social protests continue against police repression and the constitutional reform imposed by Governor Gerardo Morales. In Trinidad and Tobago, CARICOM head of governments gathered for the 45th regular meeting and to launch a year of celebrations to mark the 50th anniversary of the regional grouping founding. And in Senegal, President Macky Sall announced he will not seek re-elections, putting an end to a week of rumors. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. In Argentina, social protests continue in the province of Jujuy in response to police repression and the constitutional reform imposed by Governor Gerardo Morales. 2 weeks after the approval of the reform of the provisional constitution, march continues to take place in different localities in Jujuy. On Monday, the authorities reported at least 11 roadblocks led by native communities, while the Association of Provincial Educators announced the continuation of the strike in the region for an undetermined period of time to demand salary increases and to demand the repeal of the Jujuy Constitution. South American trade bloc Mercosur opens a 2-day summit with a call for an update to the trade deal reached with the European Union and to have more balanced relations between the two blocs. The calls come in tensions over Brussels' toward environmental demands. Argentina's Foreign Minister Santiago Cafiero said his nation shares the objective of moving forward with Mercosur's European Union agreement, a topic that will dominate some attacks between the bloc head of state on Tuesday. The European Union and Mercosur seeks to finalize a free trade agreement after reaching an agreement in principle in 2019 after more than 2 decades of tough negotiations.
However, in order to release these potentialities and for the Mercosur-EU agreement to have good results for both parties, it is necessary to work on and update the 2019 text. The Mercosur-EU agreement, as concluded in 2019, reflects an unequal effort between asymmetric blocs and does not respond to the current international scenario. The deepening of the Mercosur-EU link is a necessary political signal in an international context of growing conflict and uncertainty.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador clarified that opposition parties no longer influence the political life of the country because they have been absorbed by what he called the supreme conservative power. The president indicated in his morning press conference that the traditional political parties are losing their leaders and militants because they respond to power factions. López Obrador also indicated that the political parties respond to the businessmen and that the sector uses the media to defend its own interests.
Well, we are witnessing a new phenomenon because the political parties are no longer determining or influencing political life, although it might seem paradoxical and contradictory. I am referring to the opposition political parties. I believe that they no longer exist. And there is a grouping that absorbed them, which I have called supreme conservative power.
supremo poder conservador.
In Brazil, a platform delivery workers risk their life for low pay with no labor benefits and little job security. But across the country, they are beginning to fight back. In Recife, our correspondent Brian Mir has more.
In the 6 years since President Michel Temer implemented draconian labor law reforms, after the coup against Dilma Rousseff, freelance work in the gig economy has skyrocketed. Today, there are over 1 million motorcycle and bicycle app platform delivery workers in Brazil, with many of them working over 100 hours a week.
These companies are trying to convince their delivery workers that if they are granted labor rights, they will lose their jobs. So we have to say, look, that's not really true. If they are here, they are making a profit and they will want to stay in business.
Brazil's big labor union federations like CUT and Força Sindical are working to organize this new labor category. In Pernambuco, which is home to some 45,000 app platform delivery workers, a new union called Siambape is working to demand better pay and more support for people who are injured on the job.
The best tactic we have is work stoppage. We make a call to our workers, make a video and call on the whole category to stop. And when this paralyzation happens, the app company finds out it's lost millions.
After a recent strike threat, iFoods has agreed to hold a public assembly with the union to negotiate better working conditions. Brian Mir, teleSUR, Recife.
Let's take a very short break now, but remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats and news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. The 45th Summit of Head of States of the Caribbean Community was held in Trinidad and Tobago on the 50th anniversary of its creation. The summit will take place until next Wednesday, July the 5th, in Port of Spain, where several topics will be discussed, among them climate change, agricultural and food security, and health, among others. Several guests will also be received to discuss political, economic, and financial issues of relevance to the community. In this regard, CARICOM Secretary Carla Bernet, the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerritt, and the Premier of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley, will participate in the meeting.
Our community has demonstrated that resolve and resilience necessary to maintain the course of integration. The Caribbean community has done well. It is therefore fitting that we acknowledge and celebrate our Golden Jubilee. I have every confidence that our deliberations and decisions over the next 2 days of meeting will set us on a course for another 50 successful years.
For his part, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley, highlighted CARICOM's intentions to continue to contribute the group despite the current situation.
We have CARICOM as the next best thing to bring about regional cooperation. And we must continue to grow the integration movement by adding new blocks to the structure, even as we strengthen what already exists. Even where there was doubt in the beginning, the experience must have shown us that we are stronger together. And even though we are an amalgam of small pieces of the globe, on the world stage, we might be small, but we are not insignificant. As CARICOM, we are at our strongest. We could be at our best. Let's claim our space in this world and just do it.
UN Secretary General Antonio Gutteres also spoke at the 45th CARICOM Summit and listed a set of actions world leaders could implement to overcome the current international crisis, taking developing countries in special consideration.
I have proposed a set of actions world leaders can take now. And they include an SDG stimulus for investments in sustainable development, climate action, and more. An enhanced and effective debt relief mechanism. New financial tools, such as swaps that convert debts into investments in climate adaptation. An increase in the capital base of multilateral development banks, and a change in their business model with a new approach to risk to be able to leverage more private finance at reasonable cost in support of developing countries. The rechanneling of special drawing rights, and the shift in subsidies away from fossil fuels and unsustainable agriculture and food systems into sustainable development. And redressing a core injustice facing middle-income countries. The continued lack of access to concessional financing because of allocation metrics that ignore vulnerabilities to shocks such as financial crises or climate-related disasters. And I fully support your call for a multidimensional vulnerability index.
For his part, the Prime Minister of Dominica, Willis, highlighted the spirit of CARICOM, which seeks to ensure that the latest favor have a greater participation in the treasuries.
In any free trade arrangement within an integration movement, there will be those who benefit more than others. We recognize this in our revised treaty. It is therefore incumbent upon us all to strive to increase the ability of the less endowed to participate more fully in the trading arrangements. We must all seek to make our arrangements more equitable and use the provisions of the treaty in a more positive manner. It is true that there are dispute mechanism procedures, but we are all in this together for the benefit of the entire CARICOM. This is the true spirit of the community. We are our brothers and sisters' keeper, not only in times of disaster, but in all things.
The governments of Spain and China promote tourism cooperation with meetings attended by more than 220 representatives from both countries. The so-called Dialogue for Tourism Cooperation between Spain and China was held in the city of Madrid with the aim of boosting the recovery of the travel flow after the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the official data, nearly 600 bilateral meetings were held within the framework of this Congress in order to boost commercial and tourism exchange. The event took place as part of the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the bilateral diplomatic relations. On Monday, Belarusians celebrate Independence Day with different activities. President Alexander Lukashenko led a ceremony at the Mount of Glory Memorial Complex in the city of Minsk. Lukashenko laid a breath in memory of the soldiers who died in the Second World War in the struggle that liberates the countries from Nazism on 3rd of July 1944. In his speech, President Lukashenko said the best way to protect peace in the face of neo-Nazi groups is to promote unity with the peoples of Russia and Armenia, among other nations. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our interviews, sub-stories, special broadcasts and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent event. We'll find a short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Senegal, President Macky Sall put an end to weeks of rumors on Monday night when he announced through a message to the nation that he will not run for a third term in the 2024 presidential elections. Macky Sall first assumed the presidency in 2012 and was re-elected in 2019. He recently suggests that the 2016 constitution made him eligible for legal purposes for a third term, which ultimately will not happen. Hours before his speech, which ended with widespread rumors from the opposition and parts of social society, opposition leader Usami Sonko sentenced to 2 years in prison for a monetary scandal, called on the Senegalese people to unite to confront Macky Sall's regime.
There has been much speculation and comment on my candidacy for this election. However, I never wanted to be held hostage to this permanent injunction to speak before the hour, because my priorities overall were for the country's management, for a coherent governmental team focused on its emergence, in particular at a time of social economic difficulties and uncertainties. It will also come as a surprise to those who wish to see me continue to guide the construction of Senegal, which is gradually finding its feet. But Senegal is certainly more than me, and it is full of capable leaders for the country's emergence. I would like to say that I have clarity of mind and a clear memory of what I have said, written and repeated, here and elsewhere, which is that the 2019 term was my second and final one. I have a code of honor and a sense of historical responsibility that requires me to preserve my dignity and my word.
In South Africa, Prime Minister Kusiensho Ramaphosa said that the country is starting to keep up with demand and soon will have no blackouts for the 24 hours, through he declared to give a specific date. South Africa is set to see its most blackouts date in history this year, with daily power cuts of up to almost 10 hours a day. With the power generation beginning to keep up with demands, Ramaphosa said the country will be going down from stage 6 to stage 3 in the space of 6 weeks. The government implements launch changing in stage ranking from 1 to 8, with 8 being the highest and resulting in over 10 hours daily power cuts. In China, the third edition of China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo, which ended last Sunday, and with more than 100 agreements signed for a combined value of some $10.3 billion. The official Xinhua news agency reported at the end of the event in the capital city of Changsha that the agreements are key to the Chinese government plan to import more agricultural products from Africa and thus diversify the consumption of intercontinental trade. According to the official press, trade between China and African countries reached an all-time high in 2022, amounting to some US $282 billion.
The exhibition, as the largest economic and trade platform under the framework of the China-Africa Cooperation Forum, has been well received since its launch in 2018. The exhibition this year grew even larger in scale and involved more participants, attracting more than 1,700 Chinese and African enterprises, business associations, chambers of commerce, and financial institutions from 53 African countries, 12 international organizations, and 30 provincial regions in China to attend the event, which made a record in its history.
Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin told reporters that at a daily briefing that China asked the international nuclear watchdog to reach a responsible conclusion on Japan's plans to tap threatened radioactive water this summer from the accident from Fukushima nuclear power plant.
If Japan is bent on having its own way, it will surely be condemned and pay the price for its wrongdoing. China believes that the International Atomic Energy Agency should come up with a responsible conclusion on the discharge of nuclear contaminated water from Fukushima, which must stand the test of history and science and must not endorse Japan's wrongful act of discharging nuclear contaminated water into the sea.
In China, 19% decrease in the drug purchase price index was recorded in 2022 compared to the 2018. According to experts, this reduction is part of the National Block Drug Purchase Scheme program led by the government. The drug purchase price index is calculated based on the prices of more than 12,000 types of drugs included in the National Health Insurance Information Platform. They also point out that this program contributes more than 70% to the decrease in Western drug index. On Monday, Saudi Arabia announced that it was extending its oil production cut by 1 million barrels a day to boost flattening prices, while Russia announced that it will cut its exports by 500,000 BDP in August. These measures are the latest to be taken by the major producers to stabilize prices in the face of high market volatility and the fallout from Western sanctions against Russia for its special military operation in Ukraine. Saudi Arabia decided in early June to make a further production cut on its hope of boosting prices. This voluntary reduction will continue into August. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also see us on our socials, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For TeleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.